Wonder Woman was actually a lot better than I thought it was going to be, and that is a huge compliment because I thought it was going to be awesome in the first place. It's a really great combination of action, drama, comedy, romance, and it really gets you invested in not only the storyline, but the characters themselves. Gal Gadot, and I hope that I'm saying that right because I had to watch a Jimmy Kimmel interview in order to understand how to say her name correctly, stars, of course, as Wonder Woman, and we've seen her play Wonder Woman in Batman vs. Superman, but this is a very different Wonder Woman, and it's because this is her origin story. In this film, she's venturing out into the real world for the first time, and we get to see her experience and discover everything that is good and bad about the world and mankind. Chris Pine plays Steve Trevor, English spy who crash lands around the area of Themyscira. As he's sinking into the ocean and falling victim to imminent death by drowning, he's noticed and saved by Diana, aka Wonder Woman. And what incredible luck that is that Steve Trevor, Chris Pine, is the first man that Diana has ever seen. He's tall, he's good looking, he's in great shape, he's got those light eyes. I mean, can you imagine? She sees this plane crash, this thing that she's never seen before, goes to see what's going on, finds a man inside, saves him, brings him to the beach, rolls him over, and it's me? I don't know about you, but even I would be disappointed. But moving forward, the awkward chemistry between these two characters is really great, and in my opinion, super realistic. They're flirty, but not too flirty. Some corny jokes are made here and there. It's like high school all over again. But the important part about all of this is both characters have so much to learn from each other, and we get to see that develop in their relationship as the movie goes on. The action scenes in this movie were done very well, and I have to give Gal Gadot a lot of credit and appreciation for her performance and acting in this movie. I learned later after I saw the movie that she was actually pregnant during the filming of this movie, which is pretty crazy. They actually had to edit out her stomach area in certain scenes because she was that far along. I can barely get out of bed in the morning because I can't escape my own mind because of existential crisis. She is filming action scenes while being pregnant. Now that's pretty impressive because I can only imagine the physical training that she had to go through in order to make these movies. I mean, I don't like to even walk to the gym. I think one of my favorite action scenes, one of my favorite fight scenes is when she blasts through the window of this building and there's a bunch of soldiers in there that she now has to fight, and every once in a while the camera slows down to show her moves and she's sliding across the floor, tripping people, just really destroying everybody. It's a really cool scene and it's shot very well. I also like the part where she bashes in the side of a tank and then proceeds to lift it up and use it as a weapon. I mean, damn. But I do have to say, my favorite fight scene, my favorite action scene of the whole movie was right in the beginning, well, kind of the beginning, when they fight on the beach of Themyscira. And part of the reason why I like this so much is because of the storytelling that happened right before it. The beginning of the movie is basically dedicated to explain how these Amazonian women live on the island of Themyscira and what their lifestyle is like. And part of their lifestyle is intense training. And we're not talking about fitness training. We are talking about intense combat training. But at this point in the film, times are good. It's peaceful. Nobody's attacking them. So yeah, they're training, but it seems like they have nothing to worry about. But then, as their cloaked secret island is discovered by the German army, they have to call to arms and start fighting. Now, when the battle begins, the soldiers are arriving by boat, so they're down on the beach, and all the women are up on the cliffs. So you start seeing women running at full speed to the edge of a cliff, and this thing is high. So what I thought was gonna happen is they're gonna jump and do kind of like a superhero land. Everyone knows what I'm talking about. But that's not what happened. Instead, they use their bows and arrows to shoot arrows with ropes on them into an adjacent cliff, to then swing down to the beach while still firing arrows at the soldiers. It was pretty cool. And while the arrows are flying through the air and a bunch of people are getting shot and they're falling and there's soldiers still rushing the beach, you see the women start riding out on horseback and they have swords and there's this big like Braveheart looking fight. It was awesome. Now during this scene, something kind of important happens, but Diana doesn't really understand what it means until later, but Antiopa dies, and I think I'm saying her name right, but she's played by Robin Wright, who was the general that trained Diana throughout her entire life. When she's dying, she starts saying something to Diana, but she doesn't get to finish her sentence. But basically what she's telling her is, you are the weapon, you are the god killer that's going to kill Ares, not the weapons in the tower, not the sword. You are the weapon, but she doesn't really get to say it. Now, I do want to make it a point that I appreciate, and I think it was great, how much time they spent on the storytelling and setting up these characters for us, because by the time they reach Britain, by the time they leave Themyscira and get to Britain, I'm already, and I think everyone in the audience, is already invested in their quest, and we care about these characters enough that we want them to succeed. Because unlike Batman and Superman, listen, we have so many Batman movies, we have so many Superman movies, so for people who are fans of those characters and have never read a comic, at least you've gotten a lot of movies. Now, don't get me wrong, Wonder Woman had movies too, but definitely not to the scale and quantity of Batman and Superman. This is the first time that we're really getting to see a really well-done Wonder Woman movie, and it's great that they took the time to not just make it an action film. Hey, yeah, this is gonna be a Wonder Woman movie, we're gonna see this great action movie where Wonder Woman is just beating a bunch of people up. Yeah, we get it, you're strong, but they really spent a lot of time on developing her character and bringing her to a place where she's almost naive. I don't know if that sounds mean, but I think that's the right word to use, where she just doesn't know a lot about the real world because she's been sheltered on her private island for her entire life. And we get to see so much character development. I think it's important to see that so that it ties into all the other movies that they're going to create very well and make it make sense. So going forward, after they leave Themyscira, we start to learn a little bit more about the other characters in the movie, especially the villains. Ludendorff is the antagonist throughout, I would say, most of the movie, and his main focus is to support the work of his sadistic experimental scientist, Dr. Maru, who's also known as Dr. Poison. Because that's what she does. She poisons people through gases that she creates. She spends her time testing her gases on, I'm guessing, war prisoners, and we get to see this happen, and it ain't pretty. And in reality, Ludendorff, you're wasting your time, man. All you need to do if you want poisonous gas, hire me, feed me some tacos, you'll have your poisonous gas. But my favorite Dr. Poison scene has to be at the gala where Steve Trevor tries to use his boyish good looks and charm to kind of flirt and seduce her into giving him information and interrogating her. The reason why I like this is because a few moments into his plan, Diana walks in, Wonder Woman walks in, and she's wearing a beautiful evening gown. She's got her sword in the back, which somehow, I don't know how, but matches her dress. And he can't stop looking at her. And then, of course, Dr. Poison notices this and feels rejected. I mean, poor Dr. Poison and her Phantom of the Opera face. And then I think the last character I'm going to mention that's worth mentioning is David Thewlis, who plays Sir Patrick. Sir Patrick is a British politician who is trying to work out the armistice that is supposed to bring peace between the two countries. And when he's introduced, again, we see him as a good guy, and he's trying to help Wonder Woman. He's trying to help Steve Trevor in their mission to stop Ludendorff and Dr. Poison. Now, spoiler alert, it isn't until later in the film that we find out that Sir Patrick is actually Ares in disguise, the god of war that Wonder Woman set out to stop in the first place. Now, of course, when she finds out, she's super surprised and feels betrayed. Even I felt betrayed. Listen, I know him as Remus Lupin, and I love Harry Potter. I love Lupin, and even I felt betrayed. I was like, oh, come on, man. Really? Now, in the midst of all of this, this leads to a very sad scene that I'm sure lots of people in the audience were starting to feel the feels. Now, if you really think about it, Steve Trevor and Wonder Woman have only known each other for a few days, but they've been through so much, and their relationship develops so much. Now, I really like the way that they filmed this. They did a really great job in this part of the storytelling. What happens is there's a gigantic explosion and Wonder Woman loses her hearing for a second, and this is the scene where Steve is trying to say his goodbyes because he's about to sacrifice himself. He's gonna die. And listen, Steve, as much as I feel bad about you dying, you had a great career, you saved a lot of people, and you are Wonder Woman's first love. Wonder Woman, a god, fell in love with you. So yeah, be humble and sit down. So that's it, guys. That's what I thought about Wonder Woman. It was definitely a great movie, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it. Did you see it yet? If you have, please let me know. Write it down in the comments. If this is your first time watching any of my videos, thank you very much, and please subscribe so you could keep up with all of the other movies and geeky things that I want to talk about. You can also follow me on Instagram at GeekLevelAsian. You can also follow me on Twitter. Same handle, GeekLevelAsian. But I will say, and I say this all the time, I'm usually not on Twitter, so if you try to message me or communicate with me on there, I might not see it in time. Don't think I'm ignoring you. Please go follow me on Instagram. I'm way more conversational on there. But as always, thank you very much, guys, for joining me. I really hope that you liked this video. And if you haven't seen Wonder Woman, then go see it because it was really good. I'll talk to you guys soon.